There's been a lot of talk of heroes in the last 7 weeks. Well-deserved praise for those performing tremendous acts of bravery and kindness. But not all heroism stems from a public event. NBC's Ann Thompson has the story of one father who is going the extra mile, to say the least, to save his children.
Like so many little girls, Megan Crowley looks at her dad like a superhero. He makes her fly, guides her as she grows up. And now, against phenomenal odds, John Crowley tries to save Megan and her younger brother Patrick from a rare terminal genetic disease.
If you could imagine a disease that combines the worst elements of cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy, but in children in particularly, progresses 5 times as rapidly, that is Pompe disease.
There are 5,000 known cases of Pompe's disease in the world. 2 of them are in Princeton, New Jersey, the youngest of John and Eileen Crowley's 3 children.
Just spin it.
Often referred to as floppy baby disease, Megan and Patrick are missing the one enzyme that breaks down sugar. As a result, glycogen, a form of sugar, builds up and deteriorates their muscles. They can't walk or breathe on their own and require round-the-clock care costing $500,000 a year. And they're running out of time. The life expectancy of a child with Pompe's is 5 years. Megan is 4, Patrick is 3.
How loud do you hear the time clock ticking for Megan and Patrick?
Well, it's every day. You know, we're to the point now, we understand the disease very well. And we know we'll beat nature. And now we just have to beat time.
For 3 years, he's been trying to do that. Ever since the day they got the devastating news when Megan was just 15 months and Patrick only a week old. Eileen can still recall the doctor's words.
She's going to die in a few months, and there's no research, there's nothing happening, and there's nothing we can do to help. It was awful. It was just awful. And then he looked at Patrick and said, and there's a 50% chance that your son Patrick has the disease also.
What did you think?
What do you do? Why me? Why us? Why them?
In the middle of the night, the questions changed.
I woke up, and John is at the computer. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I've got to find something out.
And so began a desperate search for experts and information about this little-known disease that was quickly stealing his daughter.
By the time Megan was about 20 months old, she got very, very sick and had developed a pneumonia and became ventilator dependent in the hospital. She almost died 3 times within 2 days. I think we just wanted nature to take its course. And we didn't want her to suffer. And then we walked in that room, and we saw her eyes. We knew she didn't want to quit. And we didn't want to quit either.
The hope for a cure now became John's mission. Armed with only the basics learned in a high school biology class, he actively sought out anyone who had even a clue about how to extend Megan and Patrick's lives.
And everybody promised, I know how to make your kids better. I know how to cure this disease.
So how do you decide who to trust?
I think, you know, again, you try to learn everything you can about the science, and then at the end of the day, you just have to look in their eye and believe them.
The scientist John chose to believe, Dr. William Canfield of Oklahoma City, an internist and biochemist who's created a drug to replace the enzyme.
We have developed a method to get the enzyme to enter the cell efficiently, and we think that's the key to treating these diseases.
Within months, this desperate father became business partners with Canfield, quitting his job as Director of Business Strategy at Bristol-Myers Squibb to become CEO of Canfield's company, Novozyme Pharmaceuticals. Now able to devote every waking hour to finding a cure, John, on the road 4 to 5 days a week, has raised $27 million so far to finance Novozyme's research.
What is it that keeps you going?
Sometimes you do just want to hang it up and just quit. And then you walk in and you see Megan and Patrick sleeping quietly, and she'll roll over and, you know, look in my eyes and give me a hug and a kiss. Sometimes a thumbs up, just her little sign of encouragement. And that's all you need. And you go back to it.
They believe they are tantalizingly close to finding a cure. If the FDA approves, clinical trials on Novozyme's promising new drug could begin next year.
In the mice with Pompe disease, 2 injections of our medication 1 week apart results in essentially a cure. Their muscles are dramatically stronger. And we're extremely encouraged that the patients will have a similar dramatic response.
But will it work in humans? And if it does, will Megan and Patrick ever get a chance to take it? Currently, there is only enough of the drug to treat about a dozen children. And there is no guarantee, if approved, that Megan and Patrick can participate in the clinical trial. Time remains John Crowley's most unrelenting foe.
If Megan and Patrick die and you don't find a cure, will you have failed them?
No, I think I'd go back to the promise we made to them and to ourselves 3.5 years ago. That's that we would do everything we could. And I think we have. So I don't think that day will come.
A superhuman effort by Megan and Patrick's dad, who to them and thousands of other kids is a genuine superhero. For today, Ann Thompson, NBC News, Princeton.
We wish the Crowleys all the best, and of course we're keeping our fingers crossed for all of you. We'll be back in a moment. This is Today on NBC.